We're recording.
We are. Amazing.
We're back.
Okay, so welcome to another Q&A with Victoria and Julia.
Whoop, whoop.
We love doing these so much.
In case you couldn't tell how excited we both are.
And if you're watching on video, apologies. Well, no, not apologies for any of the sunglasses or amazing view because it's just lovely here. So, yeah.
Stunning. Yeah. Right, let's dive
Okay,
in, shall we?
we definitely. Do you want
Age
to ask
before,
me first?
age before beauty, so you go first. No joking.
Right. Well, okay, I'm going to go first then. My first question is from a wonderful email I got from Jess. She wanted to know, how did you know when you were ready to reintroduce exercise?
Oh, that is such a good question because you and I both struggled with exercise addiction. I'll use that strong word.
Yeah.
The answer to the question is, I didn't take it. This is my journey. Your journey was different, Julia. I'm sure you'll share.
Yeah.
I didn't take it all away completely. What I did is take it away for a couple of weeks. And then I reintroduced it with my very strong mindset of only allowing myself to do something from a place of love and gentleness. So I used to do like 1 hour HIIT sessions followed by like a 10K run, followed by then like a weight training session. So I had like a couple of weeks off where I really focused on like, what do I actually want? And it was to recover. Once I'd made my mind up to recover, that was it. I was doing it, and whatever it fucking took, I would do it. And so after a couple of weeks, I was like, right, I'm going to just do 2 times a week. I'm going to wake up on like a Wednesday and a Sunday, and I'm going to tune into my body. This was practice for me tuning into myself as well. And just to see what it was that I felt like doing that day. And I wasn't allowed, because I told myself I wasn't allowed to do HIIT. And I wasn't allowed to do weights, but I wasn't allowed to track any weights. I just did it purely for the joy of doing it. So I was just using my strong will to allow myself to do it out of love. And then if I was on the cross trainer, for example, I can hear them barking, but it's fine. If I was on the cross trainer or the rower and I said I would do 10 minutes, I would purposely do like 7 minutes, because the perfectionism in me wanted me to finish at 10, then do an extra few seconds because I had to go over 10. I would challenge myself to do like a random like 6 or 7 minute. And if I was doing a workout video on YouTube, I would challenge myself to finish it halfway through and not continue it. So I used my will to support me in bringing exercise back pretty quickly. But I want you to obviously share your journey because it was very different to mine.
Yes, so I literally had to stop exercise. It was so compulsive. It was so linked to earning calories, and I had just done so much and my body just literally couldn't cope with it anymore. So my body also stopped me from exercising by giving me really quite severe edema, so I could barely move for quite a long time. So I actually stopped exercise for a year. And I guess I knew I was ready when movement no longer felt like a way to control my body, burn calories, and earn food. I did go back to exercise before I was ready, and it felt awful. It felt punishing and really uncomfortable. And so I stopped again. I think I went back for like about 2 weeks, and I was just coming out of there and just crying all the way home. And it felt really, really horrendous. And I was also judging myself so much on what I used to be able to do.
Yeah.
And so I realized that this wasn't fun. I wasn't doing it for the joy. I was doing it because I felt that I should do it. And so I stopped again for several months. And then when I went back, I had a completely different mindset. And it was, okay, I'm just here to enjoy moving my body. And it doesn't matter what I used to be able to do. It doesn't matter that the friends that I used to train with are now able to do so much more than me. And that continued feeling really good and really nice. And there wasn't any more of that self-judging. So I guess it was it was when I'd stopped judging myself and stopped seeing it as something I should do.
Yeah.
And it became something I wanted to do for the enjoyment.
Yes. I think a great question that she could ask herself is, would I do this exercise if it wouldn't change my body in any way, shape, or form? And if the answer is yes, then it shows that it's coming from a place of love and enjoyment. Whereas if the answer is no, because I kind of want to change my body or I want to control what I eat or trying to compensate for what I've eaten, then stay away or work with a coach who can choose with you what's the best route for me, whether it was the route that I took for myself or whether it's a route that you took. And I was supporting you. I remember you went back too soon and
Yeah,
you were like, oh, I can't do like 100 pull-ups anymore. And I was like, and that's okay. And you just had to get your head around that. Okay, it actually was okay.
yeah, yeah. I think also now if I've planned to go and train and then something comes up, well, something comes up and that's fine. It
Mm,
may be a little bit irritating if I'd been looking forward to it, but there's no anxiety there.
mm,
So I can miss a session and it's absolutely fine.
yeah,
Whereas it used to cause me so much distress.
yeah. Is it fun? Is it flexible? If the answer is both yes, then I assume you're good to go.
Yeah, yeah, I reckon.
Right, let me bring one of my questions up. This is from a lovely Karen. She says, I would love to hear more about recovery when you have pretty much nailed the food thing, but still get tripped up by your mind every so often. So, how to deal with the body image thoughts at that point? So, I guess what she's asking is the food thing's pretty much sorted, but then recovery is dealing with bad body image days. That's what I took from that question.
Yeah, that's a really great question, actually. It's tough, actually. That's a really tough part of recovery because, I mean, we live in this society that glorifies body image, that says that thin is good and fat is bad. And whatever we do, we can't get away from that.
Mm,
Um, for me, it was reminding myself of, yes, maybe I did have that thin body at one time, but everything else that came along with it, the anxiety, all the things, wasn't worth changing my body for. So
mm,
it was learning to appreciate my body for what she could do rather than what she looked like, and keeping on reminding myself that what my body looked like didn't mean anything about me.
yes. And for me, it was because this does change. So true recovery isn't perfect. And what I mean by that is you will never get, well, maybe someone has, but I don't think you'll ever get to a stage where you never have a negative thought about yourself,
No.
period. Not necessarily about your body, but about yourself, or maybe you could have done better, because that's just part of being human. So, in terms of body image, when you've nailed the food part, the body image stuff does tend to take longer. I believe, because it's connected to deep rooted beliefs around self worth, self love, what it means to be in a bigger body. There's a lot more layers to this. But for me, a simple way of putting it was in every moment that I was having a negative experience about how I viewed my body, I would choose acceptance, which for me was choosing freedom. So maybe, Karen, you can ask yourself, what would freedom do right now? Or what would acceptance do right now? So in the moment you're having the bad body image thought, what would freedom do right now? Okay, freedom would choose to just let it go. They would choose to live their life anyway. They would choose to give themselves compassion and get curious about why it's meaning something to you. And in every single opportunity you have, choose acceptance, choose freedom, because recovery is a state of being that you get to choose every moment. It's not something you get to and then you're there forever. You keep choosing it, but then the more you choose it, it becomes your natural state of being, and you don't have to choose it anymore, which is where we're at. So that's what I would say on that one.
Amazing. So Elizabeth has asked if we can talk about the messy middle of recovery.
The messy middle. Yeah, it's messy and magnificent. And for me, the messy middle was actually similar to what we've touched on. The food stuff was pretty fine, like I was eating unrestrictedly. Hold on, wait. Yeah, I've gone. I'm thinking that I'm taking my turn off you, but I'm not. It was the right
No, you're all good.
right? Yeah. For me, it was the food stuff was pretty fine. It was the body stuff. And that was when I was like, right, I really want to go and restrict again because this weight gain is so hard. I almost would prefer to be in an eating disorder. That's what I was telling myself. And at the time, a few times I believed that to be true because it felt so bad to be in the messy middle. But then there was just something inside of me that was like, we've come this far. You do not want to go back to that restriction. So the only way is to keep going. And even though I couldn't see a future where I accepted and liked the body I was in when it was bigger, I just trusted with blind faith that there was a future available for me that did include body acceptance. So it was a case of taking one day at a time, not allowing your mind to future trip with the what ifs about your body image and weight gain, for me especially, and embrace the messy middle. Embrace it, remind yourself what you've gained since you started recovery, and remind yourself why you're not going back.
Yeah, I think it is really messy in the middle. You're eating more, you're resting more, you're gaining weight, but it feels a bit like you're losing control because you haven't really started to feel the
Mhm.
benefits.
Yes.
And your brain's like screaming at you to stop because it's going against everything that has been previously wired, all your previous conditioning.
Mm.
But you're right, reminding yourself of why you want it, of what it was like, how unhappy you were before you started this, because we all know recovery is a really hard journey. If you can hear weird noises, I have no idea what it
I thought
is.
it was Dave whistling or
No,
something.
I have no idea what these noises are. So apologies. Um, but yeah, it's freedom is on the other side of it, and so maybe looking for the small glimmers, the little things like that you feel that you're more connected to somebody, or that you have managed to rest without guilt when it all used to be horrendous and you felt so bad about it. That you've managed to have some ice cream without feeling bad about it. So looking for the things that are feeling good, slightly less brain fog, or laughter feeling real again.
Mm.
I mean, those
Embracing the
are the,
mess.
yeah, yeah, and looking for those little glimmers.
Yes, because what you look for, you will find, even in the
Yes.
mess. Even in the mess. Right, let's see what other one I've got. So, our Queen G, who you will remember, Julia, says, constantly thinking about food. What will I eat today? Will I be hungry? When will I eat? What if I need to look at a menu, etc., etc., etc.? Why will it stop? Does everyone have this, or only those with an eating disorder?
That's a really great question. And it does stop. And I mean, I assume that it's just people with an eating disorder because I don't have it now.
Me neither.
Um, so it's just your brain saying, I need more food. It's your brain saying, I've got more repair work to do. And though you might think you're eating enough, your body's telling you different. It's not even how much weight you've gained or how your body looks. It's the work your body's got to do that you can't see inside.
Mhm.
So it basically you need to honor it. It's mental hunger and you need to
Yes.
more.
That's what I would say. It's definitely mental hunger because apart from, let's say you and I are going out for dinner tonight, which will be lovely, and at least we're in Europe, at least we're in the same kind of continent now, right?
Yes.
But let's say you and I were going out for dinner tonight. I might look at the menu to get excited for what's there, or I might make myself wait so I'm excited to see the menu when I get there. But that is not from a place of anxiety or worry or like it doesn't even have to be anxiety. It's not from an energy of like lack or scarcity or worry. It's from a genuine energy of excitement, but not obsession either. Because I used to be obsessed with menus when I was binge eating, so that would be when I'd allow myself to binge. So the food noise is there, like Julie says, because you have mental hunger. the more you eat, the more you rest, the more you honor the mental hunger, the less the food noise will be. And then it will just be a tangible thing like, okay, I'm a human being, I need to eat lunch. Like, what can I have for lunch? You will have to ask yourself a question about food, but from self care, not from worry or like an obsession.
Yeah. And on the subject of food, Holly would like to know, how do you not get bored of recovery foods?
Oh, that's an interesting question. So I would like to ask Holly what she means by that. So because for me, recovery is eating completely and utterly unrestrictedly. So that means access to all foods. For me, all I wanted was processed foods and fats and sugars, but it didn't mean I wasn't allowed to eat other foods. So I kind of need a bit more context from Holly is what she means, so I can perhaps coach her through it. I don't know what you take from that question.
I'm wondering if she's at the stage where she just simply doesn't know what to have, that nothing seems interesting. Because I
Wow.
know I went through that and I was just like, I know I need to eat and I don't fancy anything. Nothing feels good.
Hmm.
So I'm wondering if she's at that part.
Maybe, but the way she said recovery food, it's almost like she's got a label of these are recovery foods and perhaps these aren't.
Maybe, yeah. And in which case, treat all food as equal.
Yeah. So give us some more context on that, Holly. And let me open my Instagram now for the other questions. Let me just go to my story. Right, and so we have got from Jotan, what helped you both the most on the hard days?
Um, Having an amazing coach.
Amen to that. Me too. It wasn't you, unfortunately.
I don't think I'd have been a very good coach when you were recovering, to be honest.
No, you would have been
I would have
causing
been
me to be even more anorexic.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, having a great coach, having, I found it really helpful because I journaled right from the beginning of my recovery.
Mm,
And I found it really helpful to look back to
mm,
the early days and to be like noticing how far I'd actually come and how shit I used to feel and how that is improving. So to notice the differences, to celebrate myself on my
mm.
progress, and to know that it's a journey and to be present in the moment just day by day.
Yeah, I can't really add anything onto that. That's exactly what I would say. And remind yourself why you're doing it. All
Yeah,
those things, plus remind yourself why you're doing it. And just take it one meal by 1 minute at a time and be kind to yourself.
yeah, being kind to yourself is absolutely key.
Yeah. I know
And
that it is hard.
yeah, and really celebrating those
Mm.
that progress, even if it doesn't seem a lot. If it was hard to do, it's a lot.
Yes, fully agree with that.
Okay, so Brooke has said, how do you accept a larger plus size body in recovery and not let societal stigma affect it?
Oh, again, great question. Because we are in a society that praises thinness,
Yes.
the answer to this is to own the shit out of who and what you are. I mean, even today, I was walking with my husband, my dog, and my baby just before we had this recording. And I said to him, "Oh my God, look how white I am. Remember when I used to go on the sunbed all the time to have like a tan all year round?" It wasn't a complaint, it was just a general observation of how my skin was reflecting the sun because it was so white. And then he said to me, and it's so funny how he speaks like me, like in terms of when I coach, he's like, "Own it, girl, or else it would own you." And I was like, you know what? That is so true. Like, if we own the shit out of who we are, and I know I'm talking with humor now, I know I'm talking like it's easy. I do want to just go back to serious now. It's really fucking hard when the whole of society is mirroring back to you that your body's wrong and it's not okay. But when you have done the deep inner work of self acceptance and self love, people that have mean things to say about you or reflect back to you what they think of your body, I'm not going to say it will never hurt, but it will not hurt in the ways that it used to hurt once you love and accept who you are. So own who you are, be kind to yourself, and remind yourself what you have to do and how you have to live to be in a thinner body, and allow yourself to just let that go because you've outgrown that. That's not who you are. You're better than that.
Yeah, I would agree. Really keeping on saying to yourself that your worth has never been in your body size,
No.
and that your body now allows you to live rather than just survive. But I'd also say things like diversifying your social media feed, engaging with
Yes.
body positive spaces. All those little things can help. So,
Definitely. And reaching out and speaking to someone, because your feelings are very, well, everyone's feelings are valid, but especially in society, your feelings are very valid. And also, share with your friends if you're out and about and you're feeling self conscious, or maybe there's a restaurant that's not accommodating your needs of where to sit or whatever. If your friends are able, get them to stand up for you, and start to have like this liberation little party around you of like, no, she also deserves to be treated with respect and dignity, just like everybody else does. So you might have to fight a bit more for your stand in society. If you feel able to do that, absolutely do that, because that's how change will be created.
yeah, because then you're not just changing things for yourself, you're
Mm.
really helping to change the world.
Yeah, exactly. Be the inspiration. Go out there and show all the women who are plus size that they can exist in a fat phobic world with confidence and acceptance and love. Because if you can't do it for me, do it for the we. And then at the same time, you're doing it for the we, you're actually doing it for the me. That was nice, wasn't it? Little
That
riddle.
was amazing. I love that.
Right, next question. Oh, which one shall I choose? Okay, Eat to Live and Love says, could you talk about recovering in an older stage? I am 42. Also, your experience with stomach pains. Yeah. Thanks so much for your amazing podcast. They're amazing.
Okay, so recovery and older age. Well, I was 48 when I started recovery.
Yeah.
So there's never too late.
No.
And actually, I think when you're in your 40s and your hormones are starting to change and stuff, it's a really great opportunity to start giving less shits about all the shoulds,
Mm.
because your brain and your biology is literally going to help you to do that. So just go for it. It's never, ever too late.
No. I mean, I didn't start recovering until I was 30, which is younger than this lovely lady here. But it doesn't matter how long you've had an eating disorder, which I think is part of the question, maybe unconsciously she was asking it. I've had women come to me who are in their 60s, seriously, and completely recover. And the only thing they wish they'd done is done it sooner.
Yeah. Yeah. I've had a client in her late 60s completely recover,
Yeah.
and she'd spent, I think, about 55 years in an eating disorder.
Mm,
She's living her best life now. So
yeah. Do the
that's
same.
what was the second part of that
And the
question?
well, it was kind of two extra bits, and I'm going to ask them because they're both, I think, quite a quick answer. Did you experience stomach pains, and how did you both start real recovery, like the first step? So I guess let's quickly, I mean, you had a lot of stomach pains, and I know I
Oh,
did. So yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Um, it is scary when you get all the stomach pains and all the physical recovery symptoms. It is scary. Um, just remind yourself that it's your body waking up again and starting to function again. It's not that something's wrong. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, if you're really worried and you think something is seriously wrong, get medical advice. We're
Mm,
not doctors and we can't tell you that everything's fine without that degree, I guess.
mm.
Um, but when your body starts waking up, starts functioning again, it can be really uncomfortable, but take it as a positive that it's working. Your body is starting to heal.
Yes. And don't let the eating disorder try and convince you that recovery is not working and you're damaging yourself because you're getting all these stomach pains. So it's better to restrict because at least you wasn't in pain, etc., etc.
Yeah, yeah, because it will. It will try and do that. Absolutely, it will.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have to ask you what the
No,
last
it's
part was.
fine.
Oh, the beginning of recovery. I've
Yeah,
got it.
how did you literally take the first step?
Oh, for me, I was at really high risk of refeeding syndrome
Mm,
when I first started recovery. So I had to take it really slowly. And I went from eating virtually nothing to eating essentially 3 meals and 3 snacks. But to begin with, they were just a couple of bites because I was at that really high risk of refeeding syndrome. But it was just getting my body used to the fact that
yeah,
food could be becoming regularly. And
yeah.
I had to build up quite gently for a first couple of weeks from that. Um,
Was you also taking like magnesium and potassium as well, your electrolytes?
yes.
Yeah, to
Yeah.
support the recovery. Yeah, because if anyone isn't aware of what that means, if I mean, it can affect anyone, but especially if you've been very severely under your natural weight for a long time and you've been severely restricting for a long time, you may be at risk of refeeding syndrome. So that's why it's very helpful to just to speak to a professional to see if you just need to monitor your bloods or to take some electrolytes. Just like Julie said, in the first couple of weeks, then you're over that hump, then you
Yeah.
can completely let loose and go all in.
Yeah. I would definitely recommend seeing a doctor to begin with to have
Yeah.
all your bloods checked and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going in every couple of days to begin with to have my bloods done.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. And then it was just step by step and with help.
With help. Yeah, for me, it was help. So it was breaking down and being like, I can't do this anymore. I clearly can't do it by myself because I've tried that many times. What's wrong with me? I can nail everything else in my life and I can't nail this food thing. What's wrong with me again? And I was like, do you know what? I'm just going to admit. And even using the word admit showed that I had a massive aversion to getting help and admitting that I was quote unquote weak, which is not true. It's very strong to get help. I hired my first coach and I've never looked back. I always have a coach, and that's why I became a coach and not a therapist. Also, I was like, fuck that to the 4 years of studying and having to jump through hoops and having people watch you. And no, I'm all about freedom as my top value. So I started getting help from a coach. So the first step for me was just being like, I need help. Someone please help me. And then I started.
And to begin with, I think I needed somebody to tell me what to do.
Yes.
My
Yeah.
brain wasn't in a place where I could. I mean, I was reading all the stuff and learning all the stuff, but I needed somebody to tell me step by step, you need to do this now.
Yeah.
And so to begin with, I just could follow instruction.
Mm. Yeah. That takes away almost like the responsibility for yourself. It doesn't, because you're the only one responsible for your recovery, even though you get help. But it almost takes away the internal, for me it did anyway, the responsibility internally of deciding whether you should eat unrestrictedly today or deciding if you'd have the extra chocolate bar when you've got someone saying yes, full permission, do
Yeah.
this is what you will do with your body image work. It's just that safety net and that holding hand step by step, isn't it?
And the reassurance that you're doing it right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because, I mean, I was very definitely in the I have to do it perfectly to begin with.
Yes.
And I needed a lot of reassurance that I was doing it right. And I never managed to do it perfectly, by the way, because it doesn't exist. And recovery's messy and
Yeah.
life isn't perfect. And I no longer try and be perfect in anything. Um, but yeah, I can't stress enough that getting help is so helpful.
It
it,
is.
it
It's
benefited
key.
me so much.
Yeah. Even if you don't have the funds to invest in one-to-one coaching, I mean, I've got a free support group. Julia's about to launch on the 1st of April, just plugging you right now, an
Thank you.
incredible membership that's so affordable. Like,
Yeah.
get help, like, in any way that you can. That doesn't just involve you reading a book or listening to a podcast alone. You need that extra bit of help for accountability and support for sure.
Yes. Yep. Okay. So, Georgia, my question is, did you ever have a near relapse? How did you push through all the way to full recovery?
Oh, I've got the same question. That's good from her. Yeah. I want to say yes and no. And what I mean by that is when I thought I decided that I wanted recovery, and I say it like that because let me be less hard on myself. I decided I wanted to recover and I started the journey. I got about halfway into recovery, as I've kind of mentioned in the previous question you've asked me about the messy middle. And I was like, oh my God, this weight gain is so hard. Like, I may as well go back to restriction. And I didn't. But what I did do, I wouldn't have called it a relapse, but I did kind of micro restrict and I'd kid myself. So I'd be like, well, I'm allowing all the foods, but I'll only allow chocolate at the weekend. And I'm allowing all foods, but I'll only just like change this bit here. And I'd have these little micro restrictions and little micro rules that would pop in. And then all I needed was a few attempts at doing that for me then to have a massive reaction in another fuck off binge episode. I was like, yeah, doesn't work. So I kind of went sideways, not backwards, but I needed it because it gave me more evidence and reminded me restriction doesn't work. I don't want to live that way. It gave me more fuel to keep moving forward to get to true freedom and acceptance in my body and around food. So I didn't relapse, but I did have a little sidestep of a beautiful opportunity to remind me like why the fuck I was doing this in the first place.
Yeah, I had um, I had a wonderful comment that sent me
Oh yes,
flying backwards.
God.
Um, it was meant from love. It came from my husband, who's now sticking his finger up at me.
Give that back to him from
Yeah,
me.
he's blowing your kisses now. Um, yeah, so he said something about haven't you had enough of that already? Because he thought I was. I don't know what he thought actually. I assumed he thought I was eating too much, being greedy, and my brain instantly flew to he's judging me. He thinks I'm too fat. I'm not acceptable, and I literally stopped eating again. And two things really helped me. Number one, my brilliant coach Victoria,
I was
who
literally spamming you.
you wouldn't leave me alone. Actually, three things. My friends staged an intervention and they
Yes.
shut me in a room and would not let me do anything until I ate.
A banana you ate. I
It
remember
was
it.
a banana, yes. And remembering my self worth, bringing in self compassion, and remembering and working hard, really hard on what defined me, what gave me value in this world. And it isn't the bloody size of my body.
Hmm.
It's not how much I eat. It's none of those things. And remembering that or noticing that that's not what I value in anybody else.
Hmm.
And if somebody values that in me, well, fuck off, you're not my people.
Exactly. Go dislike me over there.
Yeah,
Bye.
yeah, not interested in your opinion. If
Yeah.
you're judging me on my body size, well, and actually, if somebody is judging me on my body size, which I'm sure people do, because we get judged all the time, but if they are, it's got nothing to do with me, and
No.
it's everything to do with them and their own fears and insecurities. So,
Exactly.
yeah, it's, I guess, what we're both saying is bringing in self compassion, remembering why you're doing this in the first place,
Yeah.
and remembering where your worth actually lies.
And I would also be curious as to why perhaps the relapse happened. So something would have, because true recovery, this is just my opinion, you can't relapse because you've healed at the root.
Yes.
So I'm curious, Georgia, why did the relapse happen? It's okay that it happened. It's actually happening for you to solidify your recovery even more. It's a gift in disguise. But what events led up to it? And most importantly, what went on internally for you in your internal world because of the events that happened that caused you to choose to go back to restriction? That's also worth looking at. But you kind of need her on a coaching call to be able to dive into that.
Yeah. Um, it's your turn to ask, I think.
Yes. Let's see. How will I know? Oh, this is love this question. How Naomi says, how will I know when I am weight restored if I don't weigh myself? I love your podcast.
Um, when you're not thinking about hunger, thinking about food, hungry all the time, when food is not your thoughts all the time, when you're not afraid of eating, when food's just food, and
Yeah.
that's that.
Yeah. And for me, talking specifically about body image, I knew I was weight restored in my physical body when I wasn't buying any bigger clothes for about 6 months.
Yes.
I think you had the same experience, didn't you? Because we kept having
Yeah.
to buy bigger clothes. And then there just comes a point where you're like, oh, I'm like the same size and I'm still eating unrestrictedly and I'm just this size now.
Yeah. Yeah. There comes a point where you do just stop gaining.
Yeah, no matter what you eat.
Yeah. And in fact, thinking about it, I stopped gaining whilst I was still eating far more than I eat now, whilst
Yeah,
I still had a lot more hunger,
yeah,
and I still stopped gaining.
yeah. I
So,
remember I mean I didn't weigh myself in recovery, but I remember I did have I don't like this word, but I will use it because it makes sense. I did have a bit of overshoot weight, which some people can have, which basically means because of all the past restriction, because of the unrestricted eating, which is the only way to recovery anyway, your body, I don't even want to say the word overcompensates because it's doing it purposely for a reason and it's very smart. But your body in quotes overcompensates and carries a bit more extra weight just in case you go tits up and restrict again. It cares about you so much. It like wants that extra bit of support there in case, because your body doesn't understand why you restricted in the first place. Your body doesn't know that you wanted abs or you wanted to control or feel safe or whatever. Your body is just like, well, there must have been a famine, else otherwise why wouldn't she have eaten? So therefore, just in case there's another famine, we'll carry a bit extra. And over time, when your body can see with evidence that there's actually no famine coming anymore, it then just finds its natural set point weight. And that will happen when you have a healthy relationship with food and with your body. And when I use the word healthy, I don't mean what you eat, I mean how you feel about what you eat, how you feel about your body. When you're healthy and happy in such a holistic way, and you've not changed size in about 6 months, then you're at your set point.
yeah, I would definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
Okay, so another one from Jess. How do you know when you're ready to move away from a meal plan?
Oh, these aren't these great questions? They're
They
always great
are
questions,
really
but
good.
these are fantastic this week. Well, I don't love meal plans in the first place. However, they can be essential for some. I had little Gracie, who those of you might remember, I had her on my podcast before. She had a meal plan. She was working with many other professionals, and it did serve her well to begin with. And I have a few clients now who are also with dietitians who are on a meal plan. We're in conversation, me and the dietitian, to ensure we're on the same page. But when you feel ready, you might not ever feel ready. That's the thing. If the meal plan is still a sense of security and safety for you, that's actually when I would start with support to move away from it, because otherwise you can rely on it too much. And like Grace experienced, she wanted cheesecake and it wasn't on the meal plan, she would feel bad and guilty and wrong for having the cheesecake extra and it wasn't on the meal plan, or the meal plan would have a moderate size slice of cheesecake. What if her mental hunger was like the whole cheesecake? So let me just not go off on a tangent about meal. The question was when she feels ready, right, to come off it. Yeah, it was that the question. When is it the right
Yes,
time to
when
come off it?
when do you how do you know when you're ready to move away from a meal plan?
Right. When you're eating all the foods on the meal plan very easily, and when you're desiring a bit more freedom.
Yes, definitely.
That's what I
And I
would say.
guess when food feels more natural rather than just something to tick off a list.
Yes, indeed, because a meal plan, like I say, is beneficial sometimes, but our bodies are so different. So one day you might be like really hungry, and another day you might be less hungry. And I guess part of it when to come off a meal plan is when you trust yourself, when you trust that you will eat regardless of ticking something off.
Yeah, yeah. I would definitely say, I mean, even now, I don't necessarily have 3 meals and 3 snacks every day because I just don't need to. I get to listen to my body, and that works really well for me now. I can eat intuitively.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But because of my history, I
Yeah.
make sure I always have 3 meals a day.
Yeah. For self-care.
Yeah, for
Some
self care.
water, darling. Here you go, through the screen.
Thanks. That's great. I don't know where mine is actually.
Dave,
Don't
we
worry.
need water over here. Choppy choppy.
Honestly, he vanished the moment I needed a drink. He's vanished.
Mm.
Just can't get the staff, can you?
You can't get the
Honestly.
staff these days. No, I'd sack him if
No.
I were you as Julia's bitch. He calls himself that, just by the
Yeah,
way. FYI,
yeah.
everybody.
He created that title,
Yep.
not me. Um, and in fact, he defends that title.
He does. He does defend
Yeah,
that title. So he
yeah.
needs to sort his shit out because you need water and he's not there. Anyway, I digress you from the question, the meal plans.
Um, yeah, so I would definitely start by keeping the same structure. So
Yeah.
if you're on 3 meals, 3 snacks, keep that, but start bringing in different foods.
Great idea. Definitely. Structure to begin with, and then you can transition to complete intuitive eating, which
Yes,
probably still will look like 3 meals, 3 snacks, dessert, but some days it might not.
absolutely.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
so I think self trust is a big one. And maybe getting a bit of support just to come off the meal plan, because what you don't want to happen is you to come off the meal plan and then the restrictive behaviors start to like sneak in again. You need to keep yourself accountable to notice if that's happening and then do something, nip it in the bud, do something about it straight away.
definitely. And I guess the only caveat to like keeping the same structure is if you're wanting more. If you're
Yes,
thinking about more,
exactly.
if you're wanting more, then have more
Yeah,
because that's what you need. If you're
yeah,
thinking about food, you need to eat food.
absolutely. I'm out of my questions, so can we take another one of
Oh,
yours?
yes. Okay. Holly, how do you deal with rest guilt when you've gained weight and people assume you can exercise again?
Oh, okay. So, how to deal with the rest guilt? Well, first of all, you just feel the guilt. I know that sucks and it's not a magical answer, but the guilt will be there until it's not. And what I mean by that is until you've given yourself evidence that you can rest and nothing bad will happen, and you work on the stories you're telling yourself about you resting, then the guilt will start to go because guilt is there for now because your brain is saying you're doing something wrong by resting. Quick, send her guilt so she does something about it and doesn't rest. That's just an eating disorder brain. So to deal with the guilt is you just deal with it by feeling it and being kind to yourself with it and then letting it go, not creating stories in your head that continue to perpetuate the guilt, aka, oh, I should be moving, I should be doing it. Like notice what you're telling yourself. So that's what I'd say about that. And then the second part of the question about other people assuming she can exercise again.
Yeah,
Why are other people's opinions so important to you? What does it mean if Tom, Dick, or Harry thinks you should exercise again? Like, focus on your recovery, stay in your own lane, perhaps have some difficult conversations with people if they are actually saying something to you, or if you feel pressured, if it's your own creation of pressure from them, or whether they actually are pressuring you in a roundabout way. Have a conversation with them about how you're feeling. And most importantly, it comes back to meeting yourself where you're at, reminding yourself that even though you might feel pressured to start moving again, recovery is the most important thing. So to rest and work on letting go of the guilt, that's way more important than quote unquote looking like you can exercise again. Focus on what matters most to you. Movement will be there for the rest of your life. Julia's brought movement back in. She still goes to CrossFit. She walks the dog. She runs when she feels like it. It can come back. It's not like you have to say goodbye to it forever, but it's a completely different relationship you have with it.
Absolutely. And I would also perhaps feel the guilt and try and reframe what the guilt is.
Mm.
Because the guilt in recovery, which, let's face it, is there's a lot of it.
Yeah.
And it's just a signal that you're doing something differently. So you're not following the eating disorder. So that guilt is actually, you want the guilt because it
Yes.
means you're taking the recovered actions.
Yes. Yes.
So almost welcoming the guilt. I mean, yes, there's guilt when you ram a trolley into someone's ankles in the supermarket.
On purpose.
I've never done it on purpose, have you?
No, but I would feel guilty if I did it on purpose. But if I did it by accident, I don't think I'd feel guilty. I might feel sorry for the person, but I wouldn't feel
Yeah.
guilty. I feel guilty if I stole your water when you needed it.
Yeah, but the guilt in recovery, it's only there because your brain is trying to tell you you're doing something different, which means you're taking the recovery action, which means you're recovering. So if you can reframe that guilt to be like, this means I'm doing really well in recovery, then it
Yes.
has a completely different feeling.
Yeah. Embrace the guilt. Embrace the shit out of the guilt. Be like,
Yes,
yay, I feel guilty. I'm doing something right.
bring it on.
Bring it on, bitch.
Bring it on.
I think we've
Okay,
got time for one more, do you think? Because
one
I can hear
more.
Kua
Let's
is
have a
screaming her head off
look.
downstairs, bless her. I mean, she's with her daddy, but
Bless her.
I'm all right with it. My nervous system got used to just like not freaking the fuck out when she's crying so much. So let's go for one more.
Okay, let me see. Uh, I struggle to honor my hunger in the mornings. This is from Yogamas. Yogamas. I struggle to honor my hunger in the mornings and eat breakfast. How did you overcome this fear?
By facing the fear and doing it anyway, because the delayed eating is obviously an eating disorder behavior. And there's no better way. It sounds so simple, and it is very simple. It's just not easy. Deciding, full stop, underline, I am going to eat breakfast in the morning no matter what. Even if I'm not hungry, I'm going to prove to myself I can do it and just take the action and just do it on repeat and be kind to yourself as you're taking the action.
Yeah, yeah, I view this as the eating disorder is starting your day. And
Oh, yeah.
if you are recovering, you want recovery to start your day. So the second you start eating that food, you're saying, I'm in charge, recovery's in charge, the eating disorder is not.
You're on fire today. Put yourself out. No, don't put yourself out, actually. Keep it going. I love that so much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's because first thing in the morning, the longer you delay, the more the eating disorder is holding on to you.
Yeah. And the harder it is to then do other recovery behaviors because
Yeah.
it's that perfectionism, black or white. Well, I've not had breakfast, so I may as well skip lunch. And I may as well do, and I'll start tomorrow. But tomorrow never
Yeah.
comes. Start now.
And then you're much more likely to feel even more out of control later when your body is just saying, give me the food. I don't
Yes.
care anymore. I want food. I want more food. I want more food. And then you feel completely out of control.
Yeah. So just do the thing. Feel
Yeah.
the fear. Do it
Start your
anyway.
day with recovery, not with the eating disorder.
Boom. And let's end it there because
Yes,
Cohen's been brought upstairs. So I'm now not fully immersed in this podcast because my little daughter's literally there. So no, nothing to apologize for. So Julia, is an absolute pleasure as always, and we're going to be doing this regularly. So keep sending.
yes,
If you could email me or Julia questions because it's better for us to have them in our inbox, isn't it?
definitely. Yeah. Yeah. We
Yeah,
will probably put out things on Instagram as well.
yeah,
But if we've got enough questions from email, then we won't need to. And it is it's really easy for us to have it in the inbox. So yes, please
Yeah.
do email.
Send us questions. Julia,
Yeah,
I love you to bloody bits.
I love you too so much. So good to see you, and
We'll see you
thank
next
you for
time.
joining me in Spain.
Oh, yeah. I mean, obviously, you're talking to everyone, not just me, but you're welcome. I'm going to say for all of us.
And yeah, just sending all the listeners so much love, and that you can do it. You really, 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 really can.
You can, especially if you get an awesome coach that you become besties with.
Yeah.
Right, I'm definitely going now. All right, Matt.
All right, Petal.
See you next week, everybody, and see you tomorrow, Julia, on WhatsApp. Love you.
Yeah. Love you too. Bye.